So besides having lots of wonderful lavender at Morningsun Herb Farm, we've also partnered with Alexis and Eric down here at Soul Food Farms, a little bit farther down on Pleasance Valley Road, to prepare for our wonderful lavender festival that we plan in 2019. So over the last year, Alexis and I have started planting, and we've planted 22 rows so far of lavender. It's going to be 250 feet long each row. We did a little bit of fresh harvest this year, you-pick harvest, but next year we'll actually have a 3-day festival in June. So what we have left here is part of our lavender harvest, especially our Grosso lavender. And again, Grosso is that wonderful variety that's just beautiful, dark purple. It dries really well. People use it for essential oil. People use it for crafting. It's just really lovely. And we leave a little bit because we want somebody to enjoy the lavender besides just us. And we have Clay's bees. He has his beehives right here on Soul Food Farm. And so his bees are the happy recipients of all this wonderful lavender pollen. So I'm going to just show how to harvest the lavender and then how to prune back the lavender. We've done most of a row here, but we've only harvested, we haven't pruned, so we still have to come in and do a pruning. So this again is Grosso lavender. I'm going to come in and just prune what's left of this one. Again, when we harvest for cut flowers, we aren't harvesting too much of the bottom foliage, because all of that has to be cleaned off if you're going to be selling it fresh cut. And when you dry it, you don't really want lots of leaf stems on the bottom either. So you have a tendency to cut it kind of above the foliage, which is great for harvesting the lavender, but it's not great for the long-term health of the plant. This Grosso lavender here, this lavender we planted from a 3-inch pot last August. We're now in July, so this is 11 months in the ground. We use a little bit of ground cover to give us a little bit of weed control. Then we're just going to put a rubber band. We use rubber bands at this point rather than pretty raffia because when it dries, the stems will actually fall out. So we're just going to hang this bunch upside down now. We'll take it to a nice shady location where it still gets lots of good airflow. You're going to have a nice dark purple. We like to hang it so that all the stems dry nice and straight so we can use it for wreath making and for arrangements. So there's the plant harvested, but not pruned. Now because we're going to be pruning several thousand plants, we do this using gas hedge clippers. But in your own garden, you might just be using a pair of shears, a pair of sharp shears or hedge clippers. So what you want to do is you want to remove 30 to 50% of the foliage. So this plant is going to look a lot different when we're done. If we prune it back nice and sturdy now, every year it will stay nice and green. It will be a long-lived perennial that looks nice in your garden for 10 to 15 years. This is the time when you really want to start proper pruning. And for many people, when they see me starting to prune back plants, there's oftentimes a gasp. I teach a class called A Day of Lavender every June. And when we actually come out and prune some plants, everyone is shocked and somewhat terrified by the amount of pruning that we do on a plant. Very scary looking for people. I'll actually come in with my clippers just to clean up the bottom. If you have a way to kind of rake out or blow out the plant, that's nice to kind of finish it up so you don't have a lot of dead foliage or dying foliage sitting in there. You can see we've removed about 50% of the plant over and beyond what we harvested. So here you've got this great short little plant here. This plant is ready now to be fertilized. So we prune it back hard whenever it's done blooming, whatever time of year that is. Some lavenders have to be pruned twice a year because they bloom twice. You can compare this plant now that's done with its pruning to the plant that's only been harvested but not pruned. You can see this huge difference in size. We really bring it down much lower so that the plant stays nice and green. There's not a lot of brown wood down in there. Every year we're going to prune it back that hard. It'll look ugly for about a month, but if you give it a nice shot of fertilizer, we use organic only. We use a fish emulsion and sea kelp blend, and we'll both apply it to the roots and we'll spray down all the foliage. In a month, you'll see beautiful new foliage start up, and you'll have a wonderful, tidy looking lavender plant ready for its next bloom.